outside zone. All right, so full disclosure, got a chance to go to the Atlanta Falcons. That's where I met Sark. Got a chance to work with a center by the name of Alex Mack. And I say that because when I was in the room with Alex, he had already been in the room, I think, 8 times, had been like a 6-time All-Pro. He was the all-decade center. The guy was awesome, awesome player, excellent human being. And he was in an outside zone system almost his whole career. So I asked him one day, I said, Alex, when you're, because I never seen a nose guard the guy couldn't reach. I said, tell me what you're thinking when you get up there. And I coached this block exactly how Alex told me that he thinks about this block. He said, the first thing I think about is my hat speed. I got to throw my hat across this guy's body. He says, then I try to fit my backside shoulder right into the middle of his chest. So it's hat speed, fit your backside shoulder. And he said, Coach, at that point, I run. And he says, sometimes I end up giving up a little bit of ground, but I know by the time I hit my 4th and 5th step that I'm going to be able to recapture the line of scrimmage. Or the defender's going to overcompensate so much that with my backside shoulder, my backside hand being in that block, if he decides he wants to just run sideways, I can throw him to the sideline and the ball will go behind me. And I'm just telling you, that's exactly how I coach the block. Hat speed, fit your backside shoulder, press and run, press and run. Press and run. Even if it means you have to give up a little bit of ground initially, just keep running and you will win the block, okay? So the hardest thing about doing this in individual is getting the guys on defense to go with the centers. So it's like the constant battle. Like this guy's just going forward. It's too easy. It's too easy. Let's watch Logan on the right. This is a little bit better. Throw your helmet across his body. Fit your backside shoulder into his chest. Take your backside hand and get it underneath his chest plate and run. And run. Okay, this is a little bit better. Get it in there. And you can see they're all eventually trying to clear their hips through the play side gap. Right? You got to try to clear your hips through that play side gap. Okay, so here's some guards, right? Outside zone, man reaches. Here we go. Here's some guards. This is pretty good. Now, let's talk about this. When it was inside zone, my target was down the middle. Well, now it's outside zone, my target moves to the outside number. Because on inside zone, I'm expecting that ball to stay here. On outside zone, the ball is aiming outside of me. So these terms can be a little different for everybody. Tight zone, wide zone, inside zone, outside zone. For us, when we run inside zone, our back is square on his 3rd step, and he's essentially going to hit that ball, best cut, no cut, roll it back. So that ball really should never bounce unless the B gap closes from the outside in. That's, again, we can talk about that afterwards. Outside zone, we're aiming for the outside leg of the play side tight end. On the open side, we're aiming for the outside leg of the ghost tight end. But you're really reading the guy on the tackle. But again, those are other clinics and other conversations. But inside zone, the ball's going to end up here. Outside zone now, the ball's going to end up here. So that's the scenario that we're talking about right now. Outside number target, pretty good strike, pretty good upper body whip of the arms, elbows never leave the rib cage. And now, once we strike that target, we are trying to win that gap. Clear your hips through the play side gap. Clear your hips through the play side gap. I'm going to keep going here because I don't want to run out of time. All right, so here's a center. So here it is. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. If a nose guard lines up with his hand on the ball, you should reach him 100 out of 100 times. You got to be able to reach that guy. He can't play the gap from that tight of an alignment. If he wants to play the A gap, he better put his hand on my foot. You better not put it on the ball. You should reach him 100 out of 100 times. Okay, now I don't think the center threw his hat wide enough, but you're going to watch eventually, though, he runs and clears his hips through that gap.